just on the Premier League at the minute, and obviously returning to training, and players from a minority background. A couple of high-profile players said this. With Troy Deeney, obviously he's concerned. He doesn't want to go out, and N'Golo Kante as well. And we've been hearing in the news, haven't we, that people from an ethnic minority background have been disproportionately affected by this virus. And just what is kind of Kick Out doing in terms of their support for those players who were just concerned at the minute?
It's actually not our place to do that. It's, all the conversations are with the PFA, the Premier League, the bodies that they are as such. Listen, I fully understand any player that feels that it's not safe to go back to work. I did it in an interview yesterday that maybe the concerns are not being treated in the manner that which they should be, because there's no black and ethnic minority leaders in the top level of the people that are making these decisions. I've seen a report today that said actually the original report is not correct. But what that original report done is cause fear in the black, the Asian communities, the minority communities, cause fear. So now they're all believing that any underlying health issues that may exist in their family or has been hereditary, we're not going to put ourselves at risk. Troy Deeney's got a small baby who has breathing problems. Kante's brother died from a heart attack. His dad died from a heart attack previously. He collapsed in the changing room previously. And everyone knows Kante. You'd say that he's probably one of the fittest players that we've ever seen in the Premier League because of the way he gets around the pitch. He went back to training, obviously wasn't comfortable in his own mind, and then thought to himself, no, I can't do this. I don't want anyone to have a go at, I don't want anyone to have a go at the players for that. Yes, I do believe that football will be one of the most safest environments at the moment because it's social distance training. But I don't believe that football's a contact sport. And ultimately, that contact, it could create a whole load of issues. So I have sympathy with all the players that are taking that stance. And by the way, it's not just the 2 or 3 that have spoken out. There's much, much more. But obviously, they're talking within their own environment rather than talking it out loud,
Yeah, absolutely. Leon, have you got anything you want to add before we finish?
Yeah, well, talking about obviously the players and COVID and everything that's gone on, do you feel that those players that are worried and those that are not openly speaking about it should have the right to say if they're going back or not?
From the player side of it?
Yeah.
Players should have been included in these conversations from the very beginning. You can't form a restart without the players' knowledge, without sharing the players' concerns, without appreciating what their thought process is at the moment. How do you feel? What do you think? This is what I understand all the work behind the scenes. You've got to get it back on somehow, but you can't include the players somewhere down the line. You've got to, because ultimately they're the ones on the front line. Whilst everyone will be reporting on it from their computer screen, or that's all right, we've got the Premier League back on now, we'll just sit back and watch it at home. The players are the ones that are on the front line, and all the staff and everybody else that has to be involved in a match day, situation. So you can't involve them somewhere, 10 rows down the line. You have to involve them right at the very top. And then you have to bring out the conversation about COVID and its impact then, not now, because you've told them they can go back to training now. So now some players have gone back, some players are questioning it. Those things should have been dealt with from the outset. And we should be very clear now that the players are going back to stage 1 and social distancing, and any concerns have been allayed previously. Not now, the players have gone back and people go, yeah, I'm not really comfortable with doing that. Because apparently, we're supposed to be kicking off on June the 12th, June the 13th. That ain't happening. It's not happening. So, what do? Do you leave Troy Deeney behind? Do you leave Kante behind? That's not fair on them either, is it? But if it's a personal decision and they feel that, thank you very much, no thank you, then football will have to crack on. And there'll have to be some way of saying, Troy, are you happy to not play and we'll crack on? Troy will probably say, listen, you guys do what you got to do. I've got a family to protect. And at the moment, it's a family or football. And I think I know which way most people will go nearly all the time. It's the protection of my family,
Yeah, that's I think everyone here that will future watch this, and everyone in the group would agree that we'd always go and protect our family first. Me and Jake are based in Northampton, and Northampton Town players have forego their bonuses that they were going to receive due to making the playoffs. The main reason behind this is because they want to support the club that they play for and love, but also because tremendously, if you check over on Twitter and everything like that, there's been hundreds of Northampton Town fans coming up saying that they do not want a season ticket refund, even though the season's predominantly finished with. They don't want to.
Unbelievable.
Exactly. They don't want a refund because they love the club and they've supported it for years, and they don't want it to be in a situation where unfortunately, some clubs are struggling financially and questioning if they're going to be around even next season.
Yeah.
Do you think more clubs and players, and predominantly the bigger clubs in the game, should possibly look at something like this, maybe to help the lower levels? Because
what I do know, sorry, Leon. What I do know is that talks are continuing. I mean, sometimes all the information doesn't be out in the public domain. I think sometimes there's far too much information out in the public domain about what's going on at the moment. Like when the players were criticised by Matt Hancock, the health secretary, for not donating to the causes, but yet the players were doing their own thing anyway. They just didn't have to do it publicly, and they put together their own players together, hashtag players together, and have donated in the way that they want to do, not the way that the government or the leagues want to do. And ultimately, in their taxes, the players give more money than probably any other industry, by the way. And 3 billion, I'm told, a season. That's nothing to sniff at. Do you know what I mean? But I think there's conversations going on. I'm not saying that the conversations are about safeguarding the lower leagues. I'm saying first and foremost, the conversations are about what can they do for all their workforce. Do you know what I mean? And we've seen that when big clubs have put their staff on furlough, the outroar that there's been there. Do you know what I mean? So I think there's definitely a conversation going on. And I do believe, and I really hope that there will be packages that are come out that actually save the League One and League Two clubs. Because I could imagine right about now, some of them are right on the edge. What I can't understand, and I'll be honest with you, we were talking about big clubs, I'll say big clubs, struggling for money after 1 month of this lockdown. And I'm thinking to myself, do you only work from month to month in this industry? Have you not backed up security for a rainy day? And it's raining outside. Do you know what I mean? I couldn't understand when they said, we're nearly out of money. We're 1 month into this pandemic. I couldn't understand it. But that just shows that maybe football's finances is not as secure as what many think it is. And then, all these teams are all over the place at the moment with the way that they deal with it. I think we'll come out in a better space in terms of the way that we talk about money and football and transfer fees coming down and whatever that may be. Do you know what I mean? But I also think that we may lose 1 or 2 clubs as well. And that would, we've already lost Bury this season, haven't we? And that was under slightly different circumstances. But I honestly think that, I hope not. But if you look at the Macclesfield situation where the lads weren't being paid, if you look at the Southend situation where the lads weren't being paid, how are they surviving now? How are they surviving as a football club? With, like you say, League Two gone, League One, the possibility obviously, but the bigger 6 in League One are now fighting that cause. Do you know what I mean? So those conversations are still ongoing, but I don't know how teams honestly are going to survive. And this period of time will I believe take maybe 1 or 2 of them away.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how football comes out the other side. This, I suppose, isn't it?